Have you ever felt completely overwhelmed, even like right after a massive win?
Oh, definitely. You conquer something huge, you breathe out,
Yeah, and then bam, the next thing hits.
and it's like all those past victories just, well, evaporate, right?
Exactly. That feeling, that sort of victory amnesia, why does that happen so fast?
Such a classic human pattern, isn't it? Forgetting past help when, the current problem feels big.
It really is. And that pattern is exactly what we're diving into today.
Okay.
This deep dive, it's all about the Israelites' journey through the wilderness, after Egypt.
Incredible story, but also, yeah, a frustrating one at times.
Totally. So our mission is to unpack the lessons in their trials, but also in God's constant provision.
And water the food.
Bitter water turns sweet, bread from the sky, even how they got organized, it's all in there.
And it's amazing how these, well, ancient events offer such relevant insights for us right now.
You might think, what's ancient Israel got to do with my life?
But the parallels on faith, dependence, guidance, they're really striking.
They are, and we've got some great sources lined up for you.
The scriptural accounts, of course.
Yep. Plus historical commentaries for context, and even a really interesting modern story that brings it all together.
Sounds good. Where we start?
Okay, let's jump into this first bit, the challenge of the journey. From, freedom to fainting.
Right. So picture this. The Red Sea has just closed over Pharaoh's army.
I mean, unbelievable. They walk through on dry land.
An absolutely unprecedented miracle. They're free from slavery, heading to a promised land.
You'd think they'd be just ecstatic, right? Walking on air.
You would. But the journey wasn't just about travel. Our sources stress it was a kind of school.
A school? How so?
For spiritual growth.
Mm-hmm.
Learning discipline, self-control, sacrifice, unselfishness.
And crucially, trust and obedience.
Exactly. Following Moses, sticking together, working as a team, that was key.
But here's the twist, and it's a big one. God promises to be their God, lead them to a good land.
All the reassurance you could want, really.
Yet the accounts say they were ready to faint at every obstacle, every single one.
After the Red Sea. It boggles the mind sometimes.
How quickly do we forget divine help when, I don't know, the Wi-Fi goes out?
Well, maybe not quite like that, but the principle holds, doesn't it? It's stark.
Our sources say they quickly forgot their bitter service in Egypt.
Forgot the misery they were saved from.
Forgot God's goodness and power in delivering them. Forgot their kids were spared from the destroying angel.
And yeah, forgot the huge spectacle at the Red Sea where their enemies were just wiped out.
Instead, they just saw the present inconveniences, the hardness of the way.
It's almost tragicomic, focusing on the pebble in their shoe when they just crossed a parted sea.
And this is so important. Why was this written down?
Good question.
The sources emphasize the history was chronicled for the benefit of the Israel of God to the close of time.
So, not just for them back then, for us, now.
Exactly. It's full of warnings, instruction, a school of preparation for our promised home.
Encouraging that humble, teachable spirit needed for, well, the heavenly Canaan.
So connecting it to you listening, how often do we do that?
Forget the past blessings, the big answers to prayer when a new difficulty pops up.
Yeah, even a small one sometimes. It's a pattern we really need to watch in ourselves.
Absolutely. And that pattern shows up again almost immediately.
Right. So 3 days out from the Red Sea, no water.
Imagine the panic. Desert heat, supplies gone, thirst.
They find water at Mara, but relief turns sour fast. It's bitter, undrinkable.
And the reaction. Instant despair, a cry of anguish.
The people murmured against Moses, saying, "What shall we drink?"
It wasn't just complaining. The commentaries call it a direct test of Israel's faith.
A test, yeah. Because faith, that only works when things are easy.
Isn't really faith at all, is it? It's just, well, circumstance dependent. Fair weather faith.
So Moses cries out to God, and God answers, shows him a tree.
Throw it in the water, Moses does, and it becomes sweet.
But the text is careful here. It wasn't the tree itself.
Right. It was the power of him who was present in the pillar of cloud. God's direct intervention.
And this leads to a specific promise, a statute. Obey diligently, and God won't bring the diseases of Egypt on them.
Because he says, I am the Lord that healeth thee. Healing physically and maybe spiritually too from that bitterness.
The place names tell the story, don't they? Mara, bitter.
Mara, disgusting. Meribah, quarreling, like signposts of their struggle.
It's jarring, that quick switch from praise at the sea to grumbling at Mara.
Makes you pause and think, doesn't it? If you were there feeling that thirst,
Hmm.
what would your first reaction be?
It's a sobering thought, yeah. And believe it or not, the pattern just keeps going.
Doesn't it just, okay, what's next?
1 month in, provisions fail again. Food runs out.
You can almost hear the collective groan. Not again.
Again, they murmured. And this time, even the leaders join in.
That's significant, not just the rank and file,
They're actually wishing they'd died back in Egypt.
where they sat by the flesh pots, they said, romanticizing slavery because they were hungry.
They feared for the future, couldn't see how they'd survive. Total loss of perspective.
And yet, God provides, again, abundantly.
Promises bread from heaven, and quail, too.
So quail in the evening, covering the camp, and then in the morning, manna.
The strange, flaky stuff they'd never seen before.
And here's where it gets really insightful, how God uses this manna.
Ah, the Sabbath connection. Yeah.
Exactly. Manna falls for 6 days, but not on the Sabbath.
Day 7, nothing.
But on day 6, Friday, a double portion falls. Enough for Friday and Saturday.
And the Friday portion kept fresh for the Sabbath, which didn't happen any other day if they tried to save Monday's manna for Tuesday.
It bred worms and stank.
Right. So this was a constant daily miracle.
Teaching dependence day by day, and teaching the sacredness of the Sabbath.
God actually asks them point blank, "How long will you refuse to keep my commandments and my laws?" The manna was the proof.
It also connects to that wider biblical theme, doesn't it? Temptation and food.
Oh, absolutely. Adam and Eve in the garden.
Jesus in the wilderness. Esau selling his birthright for soup. It's a recurring test.
Because the lesson is profound. Man does not live by bread alone.
But man lives by every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord. Physical needs are real, but they aren't ultimate.
It really makes you think, how often does our craving for comfort for the physical stuff
Blind us to the deeper spiritual lessons God might be trying to teach us, or even blind us to his character.
Yeah. It's a question that definitely echoes down the ages. Okay, on to the next crisis.
Still going. Where are they now?
Rephidim. And guess what?
Let me guess. No water.
You got it. No water again. And the reaction. Predictable, but worse.
How so?
They distrusted the providence of God. Quarreled violently with Moses.
Yeah. Not just murmuring this time.
No, they were actually threatening to stone him.
Wow. After everything. The Red Sea, Mara, the manna, the quail. Their memory was shockingly short.
Unbelievably short. So Moses again cries out to God, "What shall I do with this people?"
Understandable distress.
And God tells him, "Take the elders, take your rod, the same one used in Egypt and at the Red Sea, and go strike the rock at Horeb."
And he does it. And
Water bursts forth in a living stream. Enough for everyone. Abundant.
what stands out there is God's mercy, isn't it?
Totally. Instead of punishing their rebellion, their threats,
He uses the symbol of Moses' authority, the rod, to bring them life-saving water.
yeah.
Provision over punishment in that moment.
And there's a deeper layer here, too, connecting it forward.
Ah, yes. The New Testament insight.
Paul, in 1 Corinthians, says something stunning. That rock was Christ.
Whoa. So the physical rock was a symbol.
A symbol of Christ, who, through his death, would cause living streams of salvation to flow to all who are athirst.
Jesus as the true source.
The source of life, the giver of eternal life. He later says it himself, right? "If any man thirst, let him come unto me and drink."
That puts a whole different light on it. That deep spiritual thirst.
The kind that worldly things, money, success, pleasure, just can't quench.
Our sources say, Earth's cisterns will often be emptied, its pools become dry. They just don't last.
But the water Christ offers satisfies that deep soul thirst permanently.
Amazing connection. Okay, so we've seen water, food, water again. What about leadership?
Ah, good transition. Because next we get a visit from Moses' father-in-law, Jethro.
Right, he brings Moses' wife and kids back.
And Jethro's heard the stories, the astonishing deliverance God had done for Israel. Moses tells him everything.
And Jethro's reaction is powerful. He
Yeah.
praises God. Now I know that the Lord is greater than all gods. He gets it.
He does. But then he observes Moses, and he sees a problem.
What's that?
Moses is completely swamped, judging every single dispute, big or small, from morning till night.
Ah, the classic overwhelmed leader scenario.
Exactly. And Jethro, this Midianite priest, gives him incredibly practical advice.
Delegate.
Basically, yes. Appoint trustworthy men, God-fearing, truthful, hating greed to handle the smaller cases.
Rulers of thousands, hundreds, fifties, tens. A whole structure.
Leaving Moses free to handle only the great matters and teach God's statutes.
Makes perfect sense. Smart management.
But here's the truly remarkable part. Moses listens.
Even though Jethro wasn't an Israelite. And Moses was, Moses, God's chosen leader.
Right. The text says Moses was not above being instructed by his father-in-law, despite being highly exalted by God.
He gladly listened and adopted his plan as a wise arrangement. That speaks volumes about Moses' humility.
It really does. What can we learn from that? Accepting good advice, no matter the source.
It's huge, isn't it?
Yeah.
How often do we resist good ideas because of who suggests them, or because we think we know best?
Moses' humility here probably saved him from burnout and made the whole community run better. A massive lesson in teachable leadership.
So true. Okay, we've covered a lot. Forgetfulness, provision, testing, leadership. What's the big takeaway for us today?
Well, Paul really nails it when he says these things happened as examples and warnings for Christ's followers.
So we can learn from them. Directly applicable.
It's not just ancient history, it's instruction for living faith now.
And Jesus himself makes those direct links we talked about.
I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me shall not hunger.
And the living water promise.
Ah.
Whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst.
But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life.
That deep soul thirst we mentioned, worldly stuff, pomp, riches, honor, it just can't satisfy it.
Only Jesus offers that lasting spiritual refreshment for the parched and fainting soul.
And think about the witness aspect, too. Jethro saw God's power and believed.
Now I know the Lord is greater than all gods. His eyes were opened.
But contrast that with the Amalekites. They knew about God's power, too.
But they defied his power, attacked Israel out of sheer hatred and defiance. Same evidence, totally different response.
Our response matters immensely. Which brings us to that modern story you mentioned.
Right. Our story inside. It's about a missionary, Dmitry Bagel, in Germany for rehab. He felt kind of useless, away from his usual work, but then he saw a new mission field right there.
In the rehab center.
Yeah. With secular, post-Christian Germans, he just started asking, do you like to read books?
Simple approach.
And he started sharing Christian literature, made amazing connections, distributed nearly 50 books.
Wow. So God opened a door he wasn't expecting.
Exactly. It completely changed his perspective on his mission, showing how God can work anywhere, even through simple acts, strengthening outreach in unexpected ways.
Like Moses learning from Jethro, in a way. Openness to new methods, new fields.
Precisely, a modern example of sharing that living spring Christ offers, finding thirst in unexpected places.
So the question for you listening is, what steps can you take?
How can you rely more on that living spring from Christ?
Instead of digging those earth cisterns that, well, inevitably run dry.
It's a daily choice, isn't it?
It really is. So we've walked with Israel, seen their ups and downs. Mostly downs in terms of faith, maybe.
Yeah, lots of struggles with unbelief, murmuring.
But through it all, God's consistent, merciful, miraculous provision. Water, food, guidance.
And remembering these aren't just old stories. They are examples and warnings for us. Timeless truths about God and our need for real faith.
Faith that doesn't faint at the first sign of trouble.
So this deep dive, it's really shown us so much about faith and how God sustains us.
Absolutely.
Here's maybe a final thought for you to chew on.
Okay.
Given this persistent pattern we see in Israel, and let's be honest in ourselves, of forgetting God's help and complaining.
Yeah, victory amnesia we started with.
Exactly. How might truly grasping, truly internalizing that idea of Christ as the bread of life and the living water.
Making it more than just a nice phrase.
Right. How might that fundamentally change how you respond to challenges? Not just the huge crises, but the little daily frustrations and inconveniences.
That's a deep one to ponder. How does it change the day-to-day?